Hello and welcome to PMCLounge.com. Today we are starting off on our journey of another knowledge area, which is the communications management knowledge area. Something very, very important. A lot of people think this is an easy topic, but this is the most important topic if you personally ask me when it comes to project management. So, as always, if you're into reading articles, first link in the description will take you to a relevant article over at our official website pnclounge.com about communications management basics. So check that out. First link in the description, and second link in the description will take you to an entire playlist of every single video that we do under the communications management knowledge area. So two very important links. With that being clear, that being said, let's get started. All right, so I said communications management is important, and this is the reason. 90% of a project manager's job role is communication. So this is how important communication is. Now, obviously, from PMP exam point of view, this is a relatively easier knowledge area to study. It only has three processes, and that's all. But from real life project management point of view, when you are doing project management, 90% of the time you'll find yourself doing communication. And that is why this is an area which is worth investing, which is worth exploring, reading more about, practicing more about. And that's something I definitely recommend to each and every one of you. All right, so let's start off with the basics. Communication is a two-way process of transferring information. Two-way is the key here. So, sometimes we as project managers are so busy with our work, so busy with managing projects that we forget that communication is a two-way street. It's a two-way process. You don't just deliver your message and walk away. You need to get a feedback as well. You need to get an acknowledgement as well, and you need to listen to what the other party has to say. So communications, you are 90% of the time you are involved in communications, but that doesn't mean 90% of the time you are speaking or you are the one relaying the information. That includes the time where you have to listen what the other party has to say, the other stakeholders of the project have to say, right? So it is a two-way process. That's something that you need to understand and keep in mind as always. And the next topic that you should read or understand about communications is the communication model. So let's look at that. Now, the communication model is something that you might have read in the past as well. It starts off when the sender, let's say you are the sender, you are basically encoding a message to be sent across. So, what is encoding? Encoding is translating your thoughts or ideas into a language that is understood by others. So, let's say you want to communicate with someone who is from Japan and the only language they know is Japanese. So you are going to translate your message from English to Japanese. Is that something that you always do? Not really. Sometimes you will have to make a phone call, right? Sometimes you will have to write an email. So all of this is basically a form of encoding. You are putting your thoughts into words, be it the words of English, be it the words of Japanese, or be it sentences that you are going to speak, right? So this is the process of encoding. And now the next thing that you would need is a channel or medium. If you are sending a letter, you need a channel or a medium that is going to make sure that your letter reaches the intended receiver, right? A channel or medium can also be the internet. It can be the phone lines that make sure that your call goes through, right? So this is channel or medium, something which is basically conveying your message, right? The method that is conveying your message. Now here's something which is not liked by anyone when it comes to communication, and this is called noise. Noise is anything that interferes with the transmission and understanding of the message. So let's say you made a phone call to speak to someone, and there's some noise on the phone, which means there's some disturbance on the phone, right? There's some static on the phone. That is going to lead to a distortion of the message that you're sending. So what happens is at the next end, the receiver is going to decode the message that you have sent. Now, if there was noise involved, the message that you have sent might be distorted, right? If there was no noise and you sent a message, the receiver is going to decode it and understand it fully. Whatever be the case, after the receiver decodes the message, he or she is going to encode his or her message and send you a feedback or a message from their end as well. Again, making use of a channel or medium, possibly the same that you had used. And if there's noise, obviously it can occur the second time as well. And at your end, you are then going to decode the feedback and understand what the receiver is trying to tell you. So this is the entire model, which is known as the communication model. You've got encoding, which is basically translating your thoughts or ideas into language, be it the English language, be it to translate it to some other language, translate it to the sign language, or just jotting it down, putting it into words, right? That's encoding. Then you've got decoding, which is basically translating the message back into meaningful thoughts and ideas and reciprocating, right? Then you've got the medium, which is the communication method, of course, and then noise, which is something that is going to interfere with the transmission and understanding of the message. Hope this was clear. All right, before we discuss further in the communications management knowledge area, I'd quickly like to remind you if you're looking for ideas on what books to buy to prepare for your PMP exam, head over to pmclounge.com/resources. That is where we have listed our favorite books. All right, let's talk about communications management. So the whole idea behind managing communications or the communications management knowledge area is to ensure that everybody gets the right message at the right time. Very, very important. This line basically summarizes why communication is important. Everybody gets the right message at the right time. You as a project manager who is involved in doing communications 90% of his or her time, you need to make sure that everyone is getting the right message at the right time. So there are three processes in this knowledge area, the communications management knowledge area. These are plan communications management, manage communications, and monitor communications. So one in the planning group, other one in the executing group, and finally one in the monitoring and controlling process group. Obviously, the knowledge area is the communications management knowledge area. No processes in initiating and no processes in closing. So only three processes, relatively smaller or a lighter knowledge area. But like I said, something which is extremely important for you as a project manager. All right, so plan communications management. This is the process of determining the information needs of stakeholders by developing an appropriate approach and plan for project communication with the available organizational assets and the needs of the project. So I've highlighted some important words here. In this process, you are determining what the information needs are of the project stakeholders, and you are also understanding or determining what an appropriate approach would be for project communications. But this appropriate approach also have to take care of or take into account the organizational assets and the needs of the project. If you're working on a project that has a tight budget, your approach for communication cannot be frequent trips to the client site or to the site where your team sits, right? If you're not co-located. So that's something that you need to understand. It's something that you need to take care of when planning the communications management. So this is basically the content of the communication management plan, the words that we highlighted and went over That is what goes into your communications management plan, which is obviously the important output of the plan communications management process. Just like every other process that has plan dash dash management as the first process in the knowledge area. All right, second is manage communications, the process of ensuring timely collection, creation, distribution, storage, retrieval, management, monitoring, and the ultimate disposition of project related information. So, all these activities related to the project information is basically what you do when you are managing communications. This is done in accordance to the communications management plan, the content of the communication management plan that we have already spoken of. Whatever that you do with the project information, it has to be in accordance with the communications management plan. Finally, we have monitor communications, and this is the process of ensuring that information needs of the project stakeholders are met. We have determined what the information needs were in the first process, which was plan communications management process. And in this process of monitoring communications, we are ensuring that those needs are actually met. So that is what you're doing as part of monitor communications. Now, this process in the pre-PMBOK 6 world, this process was known as control communications, which is now renamed to monitor communications. All right, before I close the video, an interesting question. What is the number one communications issue you face as a project manager? Let me know in the comments. Really looking forward to your answers. So that's all that we had in this video. Hope you got value out of it. Hope it was a good start to what is going to be an even better discussion of the communications management knowledge area. Smash that like button if you got value out of it. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay notified. And don't forget to check out the website pmclounge.com, your number one free PMP resource.